Welcome to Women Business Voices of Central Florida. I'm your host, Ariel Faith. Your voice matters here. Women of Central Florida building businesses with heart. Your voice, your story, your truth. Every lesson learned through service, every struggle that shaped you. Your voice deserves to be heard. This is where voices rise. Welcome to Women Business Voices of Central Florida. This week, we are so excited to bring Kendra Cooke. And Kendra, welcome to the Voices of Central Florida.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here today.
Good. I want you to, instead of me telling everyone how wonderful you are, which I would be more than happy to do, can you tell us what you're doing right now to encourage other women in the business? Because I know that's a lot of what you do, women, but tell us what you're doing right now.
Well, a couple things that I have going on. So I do two women's empowerment retreats a year where I bring ladies together. We bring a chef in the house, and I really just tell people that are interested, we come and take off our makeup, take off our mask, and we just get real and authentic. And there's usually tears, but we work on limiting beliefs and we work on what's holding us back from succeeding on the things we want to do. We collaborate. We eat really good, and we have a lot of fun too. So that's one space that I really work in for women. The other one is I do women's coaching, empowerment coaching. And so I do mastermind coaching for women that are in business. And we don't really work as much in the business space as we do in expansion. Are they the CEO of their life? How are they persevering through challenges that are coming their way? We talk about money because that's kind of a faux pas that a lot of us didn't grow up talking about. So don't shy away from the hard subjects, but give ladies a very safe space to come clean and to ask some questions that maybe they wouldn't ask or get answered in other places. So those are two things that I do. I speak all over the country. I just flew in from San Diego last night speaking at a women's event. So anywhere that I can uplift women, that's where I want to be.
Awesome. Now, I know you're a TEDx speaker,
Yes.
and it is now available online. So I want to make sure that the audience has I'll put the link in the notes so that they can go and watch your TEDx talk. So I would love to know, because I know you talked about finances specifically in that particular talk, but I would love to know, what is the story behind why you're doing what you're doing right now?
I think the
It's a big
biggest piece,
question.
yeah, I think the biggest piece for me why I do what I do is because I've always struggled to find a safe space for me to go and land and deal with the things that women need to deal with, right? Not that men are bad. I have a great husband, but there needs to be a space where women can say, "Hey, I didn't learn about money." And when I talk to a financial planner, they're talking up here. Or, when I talk to a bunch of men about a limiting belief, they're like, "Oh, get over it, suck it up, buttercup, let's go on." So I think it comes from a place of I didn't have the right place and the right space to expand. And so when I was seeking that, I kept saying to myself, maybe this is where God will lead me when I'm done with my career. And once I wrote my book, it just kind of opened a lot of doors for that. And so that's why I enjoy pouring back into the women, is because I struggled to find that space for myself.
Okay, talk to us a little bit about your book that you have written.
Yeah. So my book is Embrace, Empower, Evolve. It's right above my head over here, right there. And I married my love of journaling with my life story. And so each chapter, it starts with acceptance. Obviously, I came from a broken home. I moved a lot. I was in a lot of different schools. So I struggled with being accepted. And so for many, many years, there was just not a good place for me to figure out how to plug into this group or plug into that group. So I start with acceptance. And then I went through a pretty rough divorce at an early age. Again, not feeling accepted. And so during that divorce, and even before, I used my journaling place as a safe space that nobody could judge me for my thoughts. It was a safe place for me to cry, to pray, to vent. The joke at our house is I always tell my husband, if I pass before you, get my journals and burn them, because nobody will come to my funeral, because we write about everybody, right? Your parents make you mad, your siblings hurt your feelings, all those things. And so it became a real big passion for me, kind of like therapy for me as I journaled through different stages of my life. And so when I was writing my book, I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great to ask some ladies and gentlemen that read the book some harder questions that they would go inward and start looking at some of these things that I had been through and challenges to get them to think about limiting beliefs and where they first remember not being accepted. There's a chapter in there about money matters because obviously had a lot of challenges with money younger in my career, and I kind of dig into the emotions around money. There's a chapter in there about your name. I'm very adamant about what my name stands for, not so much when I'm here, but when I'm gone. What's my legacy? How I'm going to leave that, and start probing some questions around that. So the book is my life story, raw, real, and very authentic. And then each chapter has some journaling prompts where people can kind of start digging in if they're wanting to start journaling or kind of asking themselves some hard questions and digging in.
That's really cool. That it's not just not just about you, but it's also you taking that same experience and giving them something that they can go inside with. That's really exceptional. A lot of books will talk about a lot of things, but they don't leave you with something to do, right?
Yeah.
What do I do now? I know I have a problem, but what do I do? So the fact that you're giving them something that they can start to peel off some of those layers and start looking at them is really exceptional. I will also, is it available on Amazon?
Amazon. Sure is.
Okay. I will put the link in that for the book too, so that if they want to get the copy. And I know you have another thing that you worked on. You were telling me about it before, but I see it. And I love the color of it. It's called the Daily
Well.
Well.
Where do you
Talk
go
to us
to
about that.
draw? Yeah. So the Daily Well is a planner for women. And it is all things organization for ladies. From the time our feet hit the floor, there's a box at the top of how do you start strong every day? Is there a pause? Is there journaling? There's some space to journal. Are you taking your vitamins? Are you hydrating? Are you moving your body? What are you putting in the well is what's coming up in the bucket. Let's just be honest, right? So if the first thing you go to in the morning is social media and it's negative, or it's not empowering, then it can kind of be a drain on your energy and your success throughout the day. So we start you with a good, strong start. You can record your morning routines. There is a place to journal or affirmations or reflection. And then it's the flow of your day from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. There is a to-do list, your power moves. It's all on one page. But in addition to that, we put in there to really help ladies set intentional goals with action items. So it walks you through that process. There's also a very easy path to prosperity budgeting plan in there. We walk you through that. And then at the end, there's about 25 pages of notes because I was the girl who would go on a business trip and I had to take my daily devotional, my notebook for notes in the meeting, my workflow calendar, my gratitude journal, and my book bag always weighed more than my suitcase. And I was like, something's got to give, right? And so we created, my business partner, Julie Davis, and I partnered together and created this planner. And we're so, so proud of it. We'll be going into it's only 6 months at a time. So it's very manageable to throw in your bag or your briefcase and carry it with you. But we'll be going to our second release in late March for the next 6 months. So this one goes January through June 30. And they're 50% off right now for the limited time, whatever copies we have left at the printer's office. So you can go to dailyplanner.store if you're interested to get one of those, and they're $30 and you can get going. It's not too late. You haven't missed the boat. January's not over, but it is a great way to set intentional planning for your life, from your finances, your daily routines, your journaling, your body movement, anything that you really want to track. You can do it all in that 3-ring, or that's not a 3-ring binder, a spiral binder. So it's light to carry.
That is very nice. Now, what part of your work would you say lights you up the most? What gets you the most filling up of your well?
For me, it's seeing one of my students or one of my ladies at the retreat have a huge breakthrough. And it may not be money. It may be, obviously a believer and I've led women to Christ. That lights me up. Seeing a woman hit a milestone in her business, see a woman help her buy a house, right? At my 30 plus years background is in real estate. So I love seeing women just crush their goals. And I just think that I don't want to be the crab in the bucket pulling the women back down. I want to be like throwing them out of the bucket if I can. And so really just watching them soar and to really have the life that they want to self create versus the one that somebody else gives them.
Okay, so talk about that for a minute. So a lot of us grow up with expectations that are thrown on us, like we should
Hmm.
be this and this, okay?
Yes.
Or we need to not talk about money, or talk about money is okay. I mean, we all have different things that we were taught through the years.
Right.
So some of those stand in our way, but
Hmm.
we may not know it, right?
Hmm.
So how do you help them kind of peel back that I'm going to say in a safe place, and I see your retreats as being one of those, because a
Yeah.
lot of times if you've got some really deep, I'm going to call it crap because that's what it is, really
Right.
deep, ugly stuff that's really been taught you bad things and lies about yourself, your worth, your all of those things that make you take the next step, that have the courage to move forward. There's something pulling you back, right? How do you help them feel safe enough that they can crack through and know they're not going to fall apart?
Yeah, we do fall apart, and that's okay. That's part of getting raw and real, right? But a lot of times, what I like to do is try to help them go back to that first place that they remember that limiting belief was put on them, and then bring them forward of, but you're a mother, what a huge success. Or you've already accomplished X, Y, and Z. You just want to go to the next level. And so getting them to celebrate these victories along the way, because that's another thing. It's hard for women to shout from the rooftop, I'm great. We weren't told to do that. And if we do,
Exactly.
we get in that, oh my gosh, she's pretentious, she's arrogant, she's,
Right.
whatever. And unfortunately, I say this a lot. Nobody is standing at my door when I walk out of my office cheering me on. So you got to cheer on your own dang self to get out of that rut. And so I kind of say I high five myself, when I do something great because nobody else is in here celebrating with me. And so really helping them realize that it is okay to celebrate your victories and it is okay to be a woman of influence. It is okay to, get out of the box of we've done it this way, we've always done it this way. And there's a poem by Martin Luther King Jr. that I love, and it says, "If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. And if you can't crawl, by all means, keep moving." And so there is no flaws in the fact that we continue to move um, and grow. And I think it's super empowering to know that 49% of all businesses that opened in 2024 were opened with by a woman. Like it is okay. I believe in 2025, when those stats come out, it'll probably be more than 50%. Women are waking up, we're finding our voice, and it is super important for us to come into the workplace and have that confidence that we need to hire people to give them the opportunities to grow. And I just really dig in and ask a lot of questions. And my favorite question is, tell me more. Tell me more. Why do you feel that way? Tell me more. When did you realize this was happening? Tell me more. When was the last time you succeeded? And when you start really digging in there and they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. And then we let them write that story from that point. So it's really just giving them a lot of grace and letting them work through those emotions and those stories so they can fly.
Yeah. So what I heard was you help them, you ask them the questions to pull out the answers, but probably the thing you give the most is you listen,
Mm.
not with the thought of what am I going to say next, which is that
Right.
the average person listens with that intent. You're listening to hear what question to ask next to get them to the journey.
Yes. And reminding them that, I've got my own stuff. I
We all
listen.
do.
Yeah, I pray nobody opens my closet from about 20 years ago. I'm much better now than I was 20 years ago, right? But we all have stuff, and just realizing that they're not alone and that there is a no judgment zone. It's a safe place. Emotions are raw and real, and it's not silly to cry as a woman. It's not silly to cry as a dude, but somewhere along our lines in life, we were told that makes you look weak. And I differ. I beg to differ on that. I think when I get my bad emotions out, I'm able to fill it up, my cup, with just peace and clarity and companionship and endurance and perseverance for me to go to the next level. So I think we got to empty out the bad before we can fill it up with the good.
Yes, I agree 100%. And the key, what you said was very important because a lot of people talk about emptying out the bad, but they don't talk about filling it up with the good. So if you have
Mhm.
space and you take something out and you don't put something back in, you create a vacuum. So if you just leave it empty, the bad will come right back.
That's
That's
right.
just how it works. So if you don't actively put the good in, focus on how to enrich your life. What are the things that light you up? What makes you smile? Like you said earlier before we went live, you said that the space in your office, in your room, is everything that makes you happy.
Mm.
And that's a very important thing, especially for women. We live in a basically society that's very male dominant still after all these years. But when we create a workspace that reminds us that the feminine, I can't talk, feminine energy is beautiful and it lifts us up, we work so much better in a course of a day than working in a sterile, um, you know, leather couch with the dark pub
Yeah.
feel.
And we need both. We need the masculinity to sell and to rise up and to overcome, and then we need the feminine side of our energy to soften and to be compassionate and to remind ourselves that it takes both sides of us, right? Depending on what organization or what job you carry. But yes, I think your space matters. And I work at home. So, like I said, there's nobody else here, but I have to look at these four walls. And so I got to do things that make me happy and bring me joy and lighten the load. So it's very bright in here. And yeah, it's my sacred space where I can come and work and be happy. And even when I'm stressed, I can look around and see things that make me just breathe and calm down a little bit and then go back to work.
Which is wonderful. What would you say tell us about a lesson or experience that shaped how you approach your business today? So talk to us about something that was probably like a paradigm shift you might have had so you went from being young in the industry, very successful in real estate from what I remember, and then you shifted gears. And what was that moment that you knew this was the way you needed to walk in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, I had been in real estate. I started as a receptionist when I was 18. And so at the front desk and built my business up, owned my own brokerage, and then was able to sell my brokerage. And the last several years, when I was in my brokerage, still selling real estate, I hired a coach. And then the coaching company that was coaching me asked me to become a coach. And during those last several years of coaching and doing real estate, just learning how to groom people, and groom in meaning that I can ask harder questions and I can figure out what their pain points are so they'll accept the assignment a little bit more and really simplify the lessons that I needed them to learn step by step so they could grasp it and grow, which is what I love to see, people breaking records. And so the last few years I was in real estate, the market was hard. We had already come out of the downfall and we were flourishing again. And I'd been on top for a very long time in my market. And we had this booming year. And I remember sitting in the floor with my team. We were on retreat, getting our goals set for the next year. And we were all either aggravated, ticked off, or crying. It was one of those years we were like, we never want to do this again. And I just started praying, like, how does this look different? And by the grace of God, the coaching company that I worked for came to me and said, "Hey, we have a full-time position we'd like to offer you to come coach for us and travel the country and speak and find the best of the best to bring to our program." And I was like, "No, I've got 3 more years. I got to tough it out till I'm 50." I was 47. I'm going to tough it out till I'm 50. And the pivotal point for me that I made the decision to go was my husband and I went and met with the owners of the company and they made us an offer, and we came home and I'm like, I just don't think I can do it. I just had in my head I was going to sell real estate till I was 50. And we decided to fast and pray for 3 days. And my husband came to me about a day and a half and he said, "You can keep fasting, but I'm going to eat. I got clarity." And I'm like, well, what is the clarity? And he said, you know what? All athletes want to go out on top. And you've been on the top a really long time. So what else do you need to prove? Your favorite day of the week is the day that you coach your students. Watching them break records, giving them new ideas, celebrating with them. And he's like, you've been in real estate a really long time. You have nothing else to prove. And I was like, okay, let's eat. And that was just the game changer, pivotal point for me is I needed somebody to tell me it was okay, right? To follow my passion. And he saw how passionate I was about it. And why wait 3 years? We had built a very good business. We were able to sell it. And he's like, why wait? We're not promised tomorrow. So that was a pivotal point. I would tell people, and I was at an event this weekend, and that's what I said. Listen, use this time to save up your capital. It's some sacrifices and a little bit of surrendering of spending money to build a nest egg so you can go pursue the dream that you really want. And if you're doing it as a side hustle and you want it to be your full-time gig, short-term pain for the long-term gain is worth it. I would tell you that. I left my industry full-time in 17, and I've been coaching, traveling, speaking, and it's morphed into my women's groups, but not a day goes by that I'm like, oh, I have to go to work. Every day I get to go to work. So it's a mental shift, but that's how it happened for me. That was my paradigm shift.
Yeah, that's really a neat story. What do you say? You're in Central Florida, but you are on the Tampa Bay side. So where are you again? Just
I'm in Tampa.
approximately?
Yeah, I'm in Tampa
Okay.
Bay. Yeah.
Do you ever have any events in Tampa?
I speak at other people's events here.
Okay.
I host my retreats in Orlando, actually, at a retreat, Evermore Resort, right? They're in the Disney area. And so I do 2 a year in March and October. If I have an event, obviously in Orlando, it would be on my website, which I have a calendar with all my speaking events as they come in. We post them there. But I have spoken in Orlando multiple times, yes. And obviously my TEDx was done in Lake Mary, so not too far from there. So I am in that area a lot for other reasons. But yes, that's if somebody hires me to speak, I'll be there.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, quick question. Have you sold out your March? Are you full?
Yes, we are full. We are oversold. As a matter of fact, I'm jokingly telling my husband, I'm sleeping on a couch. And he's like, no, you need a bigger house. I'm like, we have the biggest house that's there. So right now, yeah, we are completely sold out. If somebody wants to know about the retreats, if you go to my website and just sign up for my newsletter, I send one email a month. That's it. And that's when I release the date. So as soon as we're done with the March when the October dates come out, the March comes out. So,
okay.
Yeah, but they can find all of that on my website and sign up for the newsletter if they want.
That's nice. I love that. Okay, I will make sure that gets in on the notes too, because I have facilitated retreats. I have been to many for different reasons. And there is something that is, how long are your retreats? Just 2, 3 days?
Yes. Yeah. You come in on.
Hey, I just wanted to pop in real quick and say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your support. The share, the like buttons, and the leaving comments really does help our information to get out to more people, especially the share to somebody you know that might need this. So please like, share, and please comment, because I love to hear your comments. I read them all.
Thursday night or Thursday afternoon, we do dinner on Thursday night. We go hard Friday, Saturday, do our closing celebration on Saturday night, and then we all leave on Sunday morning.
Okay. So what I find in those environments, and for a while I was holding retreats and doing branding, but I was doing one day of business development, marketing development, and then the second day was the photography to match that whatever we just developed.
Right.
All the video and assets so that you could just start rocking with the hard part for a lot of women is the marketing.
Sure.
But the thing that was so amazing, even for myself, was when you put yourself in a room with different women, different businesses, and you hear the different perspectives, something you might think is 100% clear, somebody else is sitting there going, I didn't quite understand what you do. So having those other perspectives and being in a safe environment where you really genuinely feel like you can be open is really a gift. to each individual in that room. I mean, it's priceless. Obviously we got to pay for everything, but it's something that once you've done it and you've gotten in the right room, I think you start to crave it. It's like, I need another one.
Yes. Yes. And I think that, it is the right room matters, but sometimes it's just being around other people, their energy, their ideas, their collaborations. That's how the Daily Well came to fruition. I've had it on my vision board for years, and a young lady who I've known for several years came to my retreat. And at the end of the retreat, her big breakthrough is, I'm going to go home and create this planner that I've been wanting. And I'm like, oh, we should talk. And so within a week, we were on the phone and we decided to do it a joint venture. And we are thrilled for our first release. And she's actually flying here on Friday so we can meet with a publisher to get our second one rolling. So you just never know what will come out of those rooms, especially if you let yourself open up and you let yourself meet. I was just in, like I said, San Diego with over 300 women in a room. And wow, the things that come out of there, just, the collaboration, the ideas, the podcasts, opportunities, you got to get out from behind your desk. And there's a whole nother world outside of social media. We just got to go find it.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, I think the more we put our efforts outside of social media, the more human we become. I mean, we're already human, but you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
you don't have to hide behind the social media standards. Just like we have standards put upon us, we're not playing the algorithm game. We can just go show up, be in the room,
Yes.
listen to people, meet them, watch their eyes light up when they talk about something they're passionate about. And you're right. It's absolutely amazing who you meet in some of those rooms. Do you have any kind of there's so many different ones that I think sometimes for me can get overwhelming. There's so many different women's groups. There's so many different, and the more you look, the more you find, because that's the algorithm playing its game. So then you think there's even more, but it's actually
Right.
just the fact that you're being shown it. But there's so many different online women's groups. There's Facebook. I mean, there's so many of them. If somebody is looking for one what would your suggestion be as to some of the keys to looking for a community that's good for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think most of us probably have some kind of organization for our work, whether it's, you're in social media, you got to go to those kind of classes, you're a real estate agent, you have that. But I always tell women, what are you going for? Is it just connection? Can you do that locally where it's cheaper and you pay, a yearly subscription to be a part of a lunch group? Or are you looking to like step out of your comfort zone and go meet women that are the next level up, that you can go meet with these people and learn from them and grow to elevate yourself? So I think what I would do is do a ton of research. If you have the means to travel, I love having people around the country to brainstorm with, because what they're doing in Utah is different than what I'm doing in Florida. And so
Yeah.
I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm an innovator, I'm an activator, all these things. So I'm looking for those kind of people that I can get in the room with that are speaking, that are getting speaking gigs. So we can brainstorm, like, how did you get that contract? And how'd your TEDx go? And give me some pointers of how to get a TEDx application in. And so I'm looking for people that are a little bit higher ahead in the game than I am, so they can give me pointers for me to get there faster. Listen, I'm all about shortening the learning curve. At this point in my life, I will take all the help I can get. So I would just tell people, get your local, something rooted in your local where you can go have lunch once a month or once a quarter or something. But if you're really focused on something specific like women's empowerment, start doing some research. See how many events they've done in the past. See how many people are expected to be there. What's the dynamic of the people there? Does the entry fee fit your budget? So I think you've got to kind of dig into that. But for me, I try to go to 4 a year. And then I host 2. So it's, every other month I'm pouring into myself. And then you can't do it all, right? You can't do it all. But then you can come back and start deciphering. I'll tell you, I get a ton of content from there, because I feel like sometime, and this is right in your space, but I'm like, do I say the same thing over and over? I need other words. And I know AI is there, but I want it to sound like me. I want it to walk like me and talk like me. And so when you meet me, you know exactly who I am because from my social or from meeting me in a room, I am who I am, right? So I want to really figure out how to find those people, help me with my wording and my speeches and all that kind of stuff. So do your homework because you can get disappointed. I can be honest and say,
Yes,
been
it
in rooms.
happens.
Yeah, I've been in rooms and I'm like, wow, this was not what I anticipated. And it was sold a
Mhm.
little different to me and those kind of things. So, do your homework, have a conversation with the host or the person who's hosting the event and get your questions answered because it is an investment. And I did say that properly. It is an investment in yourself. It doesn't cost money. You're not spending money. You're investing in yourself.
Yeah, and it is the best investment you can make as a business owner. Just like your planner, if you're not filling your well, if you're not keeping your education up, if you're not keeping your emotional and your mental state up, you don't have anything to then give to others. And then you will just drain yourself and then you burn out and all those other not so pleasant things. So those investments are getting in the right room, being in the right energy. It is like filling that well. 2-3 days in a conference can really just like light you up, and you just may have met a bunch of great people. You may not have actually gotten any wisdom that you didn't already know. I mean, they might have said everything you already know intellectually, but the heart and the energy in the room and all of those women sharing that wanting to get better, the younger women being helped by the older, it's just so incredibly dynamic. It's hard to explain unless you've been in those rooms. So I really love what you're doing. I love that you are helping so many women. I'm a woman helper too, because I am one. I understand us. I will help men too, but I don't understand men as much as I understand women. I don't know
Right.
why. Kind of baffle me sometimes. Uh, but I understand the challenges that women have from total chaos to everything in between. So I can approach life with a compassionate heart, right? That's really the key there. It's not my journey was worse or none of that matters. Pain is pain
Yes.
and blocks are blocks, right? And emotions, I've come to the clear understanding that emotion is data. It's not right or wrong, it's data. It's
Mhm.
information that my body is giving me to assess a situation. Sadness is an emotion, all of them, right? They
Correct.
tell you something. So if I feel pain and want to cry and I don't, I'm silencing myself. I'm silencing that data and I'm saying that data is irrelevant on some level. Whereas when I say, okay, this might not be the place for me to full out bawl, but this is very painful and I am feeling pain and I own it, name it, and then it's so much easier to what do I do with that pain now? I can make a conscious decision so you're not being controlled by the emotion. You're the one driving the ship.
That's right.
Yep. And that
Yeah.
it seems like such a logical thing, but we are not raised that way.
Well,
We
and it
are
depends on how old you are and how you use your emotions. When we were kids, we used our emotions to cry and get what we wanted. And some of us never grew out of that. And we're still crying, trying to get what we want. It doesn't really work that way when we become adults.
nope, it doesn't.
And then, if somebody hurts your feelings, you're like, oh, I'm not going to let them see me cry. And you stuff that down until it becomes a big of a volcano. And that's, I'm very verbal. If you hurt my feelings, I would say, hey, that hurt my feelings. Can we talk about that? Or that really made me mad. Don't talk to me that way, And so, but it took me a long time to get there. Therapy is great. Journaling is great. If you really struggle with being open and honest, practice with yourself in your journal. Cause I said that earlier, it's your safe space and, there's no judgment there. And, I laughingly say I can cuss and cry and pray and all the things that I need to do in a day. And there's zero judgment there, but you learn to acknowledge what you will accept and what you won't accept going forward. So it is a great lesson for people that are working through their emotions to put them down on paper for sure.
It really is. Yeah. And paper, not digital. Because
Yeah.
there's something about the hand and pen connection
Mhm.
psychologically that is very powerful. Have you ever heard of non-dominant writing, non-dominant handwriting?
Mm-mm.
So
I mean, I
if
know what
you're
that is. You write with your opposite hand. That would be horrible for me. I don't even know that this hand moves like that. But yeah, I bet it.
there's an interesting connection to your subconscious when you use the other hand that you don't have
Mm,
access to when you're using the hand that's dominant. Because the dominant brain is saying, okay, this is a D, that's an A, without you thinking, but that's what's going on. You're how to spell the word, all that technical stuff. So when you cross over and use the sloppy hand, the non-dominant hand, and you just start writing, things come out of your heart your subconscious in a very interesting way. It's
hmm.
just if you ever feel like there's a block and you can't break it, it's an interesting way to say, okay, talk to yourself, what's going on? And just let yourself write whatever it is, however bad it is. If you can't read it, doesn't matter. You're just still writing. I've done that many times and it's a really interesting experience.
Sounds like it. I'm gonna have to try it. I don't even know if I could get one letter going, but I could certainly try. That's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, you could. And you get better at it, but it's like everything in life. Well, it was an honor to have you with us. I will make sure that everyone can find you. I'll make sure they have your LinkedIn connections. Is that the platform you are most on?
LinkedIn or Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
can
So
always go to my website too. Everything's on there as well.
okay. Awesome. All right. I will make sure that's all connected. And I hope that we get your October booked out for you before you even open the doors. How's that?
That sounds amazing. And thank you so much for the opportunity and what you're doing for women in Central Florida. We need more female fun places to go, a safe space to learn. So thank you for doing that for me. It was great to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks. Thank you for listening to Women Business Voices of Central Florida. Your voice matters. Keep sharing, keep building, and keep rising. Women Business Voices of Central Florida. Please like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Voices of Central Florida, shining bright. We are done staying quiet in the corner. We got hearts that refuse to fold. Every handshake, every hard day turns experience into gold. We lift up one another, watch the whole room start to turn. Every small win lights a pathway. Every failure just helps us learn. Hands up for the ones still doubting. You belong right where deals are made. Stand tall when the room feels crowded. You're the reason that the ground will shake. Say your name like an anthem. Oh, say your dream like a vow. Oh, we're the future in the making. And the future is now. This is our time to rise.